9:30 pretty much, and I'm going to do a beginner's Pilates class. So we're really going to focus on the method of Pilates, which so there's the principles of Pilates, which include breathing, centering, control, precision. Got to try and remember them all. Flow, and there's one more. Centering, breathing, control. Anyway, I'll tell you about those next time. So we're going to focus on the breathing and the centering today. So it's going to be quite slow class, but if you've never done Pilates before, this is really going to teach you the very, very, very basics so that you can progress through the exercises. So a little disclaimer before we start. Obviously, make sure that you are fit and healthy enough to do this exercise. If you have any doubts, then, don't do it, because we don't want any injuries, or, we don't want you to cause any injuries. And you have to be responsible for your own safety in exercising. So please make sure that you are fit and healthy. Advisable not to exercise alone, purely because, if you fall and bang your head, who's going to find you? Let's put it bluntly. So just consider that. Have your phone nearby. If you are on your own, I don't know really what to suggest, but just make sure that you're safe. You have to take responsibility for what you do in these times. I think that's about it. Don't push yourself too much. Anyway, this is very easy, this class, so I don't think anyone will cause themselves any problems. So it might be a bit slow for you, but bear with it, because honestly, if you get this method right, you can progress to the exercises. And Pilates might look easy. It might look like you're just lying down on the floor, waving your arms and legs about, but actually, when you're doing it right, when you're following the method, it's actually really difficult and quite challenging. So there you go. Right, so we're going to start. We're going to do the standing setup. So we think about posture. Pilates is very much about posture, correct alignment. So we will start feet together. Then you're going to turn your toes out, followed by your heels. And you want to look down and see that your feet are parallel, facing forwards. This is the very start point. And thinking about the gap between your second toe and your third toe, you want to kind of line that up underneath your knees, which will then line it up underneath your hips. And then we want to think about the pelvis and the rib cage. The rib cage wants to be stacked on top of the pelvis. Shoulders nice and wide through the collarbone. So from here, we're just going to soften up those knees. And I want you to shift the weight forwards a little bit. And then shift the weight backwards. So it's just getting an awareness of that shifting weight, trying to stay controlled. And as we breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, even breathing, we're trying to sort of calm the mind so we can focus on the movement. And then let's bring the weight so that you are pressing down through your big toe, your little toe, and your heel. And that should make you feel a little bit lifted through the arches. Keep the knees soft, and we're just going to do some pelvic tilts. So I'll turn sideways, keeping that upper back here nice and stable. You might want to press your hand into there just to make sure that you're not kind of using that movement. So we're just going to tuck the tailbone under. It's a small movement. We've all got our own range of movement available to us. So imagine that you're bringing the pelvis under and then letting the pelvis go out behind you. So we're arching through the lower back. We're flattening out that lower back and arching. So just working with your range of movement. And then we're going to come to that middle point. So we should have the natural curve of the spine. We're all slightly different. So just think about the midpoint between there and there. For me, I think it's there. So that should be my neutral spine. So grow nice and tall now, out of the crown of the head. So try to float it up towards the ceiling. You're going to keep your chin parallel to the floor. So a lot of people let their chin rise up towards the ceiling. be aware of it and bring it parallel. Don't look down, so we're looking straight ahead. Bring the chin towards the throat a little bit so that you get the length down the back of the neck. We're going to draw shoulders up towards your ears, press them behind, and then gently draw those shoulder blades as if they're in a sort of V shape coming down. Or imagine that you've got a pair of jeans on and you're trying to slide those shoulder blades into the pockets of your jeans. So it's that downward drawing, which helps you feel open through the collarbone. So you'll find that there's a lot of descriptive language used in Pilates, and this is to help you visualise the feeling that you should be feeling. So when I say open through the collarbones, yeah, are you feeling open through the collarbones? If you draw your shoulders back and down, does that make you feel a bit more open? So this is how we align ourselves. So now we're going to talk about the pelvic floor. So I'll just take this to illustrate what is the core, the powerhouse. So imagine that this is your mid bit, and we've got, this is the, put that there, the corset of the deepest stabilising muscle. It's called the transversus abdominis, and it's the TVA for short, and it comes around you like a corset. So that is the sides of the core, and then we've got the pelvic floor. So that is the pelvic floor, and then we've got the diaphragm on the top, and then this is your core. So you've got the TVA, pelvic floor, and the diaphragm, and this is why we pull up the pelvic floor, we pull in through the tummy button to pull that TVA in, and we use the breath, the diaphragm, to help us when we are doing the exercises. So this is essentially the method. So we're going to think about our standing setup again. Just draw those shoulders back and down, chin parallel to the floor, nice and tall, nice and open through the collarbones. We're going to work on the pelvic floor. So drawing that pelvic floor, imagine you've got a building inside the body, and you've got a lift, and that lift goes up to the 10th floor. So we're drawing that pelvic floor up to the 10th floor. So that is the muscle that you would use if you were trying to stop yourself in the middle of having a wee. So drawing that up, no one can see that you're doing it. You can do it any way you like, in the queue at Sainsbury's, you know, standing at the bus stop. You can't really do that now, but you know, you will be able to. So up to the 10th floor, and then we are going to release that back down to the ground floor, not the basement, so we're not pushing it, we're just relaxing it. And in the meantime, we're breathing in through the nose and gently breathing out through the mouth. Nice and relaxed breathing. So let's do that one more time. So breathing in, as you exhale, draw the pelvic floor up towards the 10th floor. Nice and slowly. And then we can lower that back down again to the basement, to the ground floor. Apologies, not the basement. So now I want you to take your fingers on your hip bones, and you're going to come in a couple of centimetres or inches if you're imperial still, an inch, and then we're going to go down an inch, and in this area here, in this soft area, just press those fingers in. Take a nice breath in, and as you exhale, I want you to draw the pelvic floor up towards the 10th floor. Now, you should be able to feel a gentle sort of tightening, a gentle contraction underneath your fingertips. And that is the transversus abdominis starting to engage. So by drawing up the pelvic floor, you are starting to engage that deeper muscle. Now we're going to relax down to the 5th floor, that pelvic floor. And now we relax down to the 3rd floor. So we are gently engaging through the pelvic floor, about 30%. Okay, So now, and we can hold that, we can maintain that for a long period of time because it's that kind of muscle which can hold that low level contraction. So that's what we want to do. So 30%, any time of day now when you think of your pelvic floor, just think 30%, up you go, 30%. Lovely. So now we're going to incorporate the TBA. So now place fingertips on your belly button. I'm going to turn sideways. So my pelvic floor, I'm pulling it up 30%. I'm going to take a breath in, and as I exhale, I'm pulling my belly button in towards my spine, and I can really feel that tightening now across the lower abdomen. And I'm going to hold that in. Relax the arms down by your side, and breathe in through the nose, into the side of the rib cage. So I'm trying to start the breath deep, not in the chest. And as you exhale, pulling up and pulling in a little bit more to get that engagement again. And then we inhale, expanding the rib cage sideways, exhale, pulling up and pulling in. So let's do a few more breaths like that. Close your eyes if you want to. Breathing in through the nose, wide into the rib cage, and as you exhale, pull up the pelvic floor, pull in through the belly button. So essentially that is the breathing and your core. So this is the core, the center, your powerhouse. Imagine that you are zipping a pair of jeans up. They're a little bit too tight, so you have to pull in through the tummy, pull up the pelvic floor as you zip those jeans up. Last 1 or 2 breaths. I hope that you're feeling that contraction. You can put some comments in, I think, if you're having trouble with that. And we can have a chat afterwards. Can try and help you. So nice deep breaths using the side of the ribs, not the chest. The shoulders are back and down. So a lot of people breathe into their shoulders. So be aware if you're a shoulder breather. Stop doing it. Breathe into the bottom of the lungs. Right, lovely. So now we are going to do some roll downs. We're going to do some movement with the breathing. So come to the edge of the mat. If you have osteoporosis or any condition that means that you have sort of brittle bones and you can get like fractures in your spine or your ribs, you want to not do the roll down. So in that case, I just want you to sit down on the mat and wait until we catch up. Okay? So osteoporosis, brittle bones, anything, condition like that. Otherwise, we're going to think about our standing setup. Nice pull up. So pull up through the pelvic floor, pull in through the belly. Keep breathing into the ribs. And we are going to start by tucking that chin and rounding down through the vertebrae one at a time. So take it slowly. Let those arms hang. Keep those knees soft, so we don't want locked out knees, just soften them very gently. And as you round down, you might want to walk your fingers down your legs or hold on to the legs a little bit more, just to come down. Let those arms hang if that's an option for you. Let your head hang. Couple of breaths down here, and then we're going to start restacking. So building the spine back up. Standing nice and tall, draw those shoulders back and down. Think about the ribs stacked on top of the hips, so we don't want to be arching through the back. Try and keep that nice and relaxed. Let's go again. Knees are soft, hands and arms are long and heavy, or they're walking down your legs. And then we try not to poke the bottom out. rounding down each vertebrae one at a time. So lovely mobility through the spine. This is what we're aiming for with this. Keep pulling up through the pelvic floor, pulling in through the tummy to protect that lower back. And again, we draw the shoulders back and down, nice and tall. Last one. Rounding down. Nice and slow. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's wait here for a few breaths now. You get a lovely stretch up the back of the legs. Keep pulling in through the tummy. So we're going to let those arms swish and sway about. Not the body stays still, but just get a little bit of space in that shoulder socket. Allow the gravity to give you a release. And then you can nod the head as if you're saying yes. Shake the head as if you're saying no. And we're going to walk forwards down onto the mat. So coming into onto your backs, onto the mat. If you've got, I should have mentioned this, a rolled up towel is what we want, possibly. So think about our setup. So we always set the body up before we move it in Pilates. So I want your feet to be flat on the floor. Let's have knees and feet together to start with. And then you just separate the toes and separate the heels. So you should have them nicely lined up now with your hips and your knees, feet parallel. So we want to draw those shoulders down away from your ears. Be aware what's going on with your neck. So we want to do a little bit of a chin tuck so that you get the length down the back of the neck. If you find that you're looking up towards the ceiling with your chin, then this means that you're a little bit tight maybe on the back of the neck, and in order to help you relax, we're going to place a rolled up towel underneath the head, and that will help you get that chin tuck and line up your spine better, which means that you can relax through the shoulders, through the rib cage. So just lying here for a breath or two to feel nice and settled and relaxed. Now we're going to find our neutral spine. So hands are going to make a diamond shape. You place your thumbs underneath your belly button and the rest of your hands are going to fall over your abdomen. Imagine that you have got a marble in the middle of that diamond, and you're going to roll that marble down towards your thumbs. And then we're going to roll that marble down towards your fingertips. So rolling that marble north and south, you can feel that your spine is pressing onto the mat, and then it is lifting away from the mat. So nice and slow. Still breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you exhale through the mouth, this is what I want you to think about, engaging through the pelvic floor and pulling in through the tummy. Let's find that midpoint where the marble is lying in the middle of the diamond. It's not rolling one way or the other. If I had a spirit level, and I laid it across your hip bones and your pubic bone, it would be level. So you can kind of have a little bit of feedback where you think that might be. And then when you place your hand under your lower back, you should have enough room for a flat hand to fit in there. If you're too arched, you've got too much space, you need to think about lining up the hip bones with the pubic bone, making it then the same level. Flat hand gap. There you go. That is your neutral spine. So we always want to start in this position. Now we're going to draw up the pelvic floor, and we're going to exhale, scoop that belly button down towards the mat. So it's exactly what we were doing when we were standing. So we pull up and we pull in as we exhale. So a couple of breaths. Inhale, exhale, pull up and pull in. So the next bit is to add in some movement. So let's inhale. We're going to pull up, we're going to pull in, and we're going to slide one foot along the floor into a leg slide. And then as you inhale, drawing it back. I'm just going to scoot up my butt a little bit. So what we're looking to do is keep the pelvis nice and stable. So it's a breath in, exhale, pull up, pull in, and slide that leg along the floor. Inhale to return. And we're looking to keep the pelvis absolutely stable. And relax through the shoulders. Exhale, pull up, pull in, extend the leg. Inhale, draw it back. Try to relax through the shoulders and the head and the neck. All the work is happening in the powerhouse. So if you do it without engaging through the core, I'm going to try and do that now. So I'm not going to engage through the core, I'm going to go like this. I can feel that my pelvis is wobbling about a bit as I do that. Not that much, but you might feel it a lot more. I think I'm finding it quite difficult to actually do it incorrectly. So nice pull up, pull in, breath in, exhale. Inhale to return. And exhale. Pulling in through the tummy. Let's do another 4. Thinking about the breath pattern. Inhale to return. Relaxing through the shoulders. Exhale. Inhale to return. As you change from one leg to the other, you want to minimize any movement through the pelvis. Excellent. Coming back to that start position. So we're going to do some knees out to the side again next, and again the focus is on keeping the pelvis stable. So what will happen as you bring your knee out to the side is the pelvis is going to want to tip. You've got to hold it nice and strong in the centre to hold it stable. So it's a breath in, draw up the pelvic floor, pull in through the tummy, and let that knee come out to the side. Inhale back to the centre. Or opposite side. So just go as far as you're able to maintain that pelvic stability. You can place your fingertips on your hip bones. We'll give you a little bit of feedback as to whether you're tipping through the hips. So breath in, exhale, pull up, pull in, and move as you exhale. So as you exhale, you are pulling and scooping the belly button down towards the spine and drawing up the pelvic floor. Let's do last one on each side. So we're going to be aware of the shoulders. Sometimes they rise up towards your ears. You hold the tension there. Try not to hold any tension in the shoulders. Think about all the movement coming from the powerhouse. So we are now going to do some legs up to tabletop. So tabletop is a 90-degree angle at the hip and a 90-degree angle at the knee. So it's a breath in, exhale, pull up, pull in, and bring one leg up to tabletop. Inhale, exhale to lower. And there should be no movement through the hips. Same on the other side. Inhale, exhale, engage through the centre, feel nice and centred, and we lift one leg up to tabletop. And then lower. So we move on the exhale. Hold it as you inhale. And exhale to lower. Inhale, exhale, the other side. So I want you to think about when you engage through the core, different exercises are going to require different levels of engagement. So think of it as a dimmer switch, and you turn the core on the minimum that you're able to maintain that neutral spine and neutral pelvis. So you might need to turn it on a little bit more for the next exercise that we're going to do. So make this the last knee lift. And we're going to bring both legs into tabletop. So it's a breath in. As you exhale, bring one leg up into tabletop. And we're going to hold it there. And we never bring both legs up at the same time unless it's part of a specific exercise. So always bring one leg up at a time. So now I want you to imagine that you've got a grape underneath your lower back. Remember, we've got that little gap under the lower back still. So it's a breath in, and as you exhale, you squeeze a little bit of juice out of that grape and bring your second leg up into tabletop. So now we have turned the dimmer switch up a little bit in order to hold ourselves in position, nice and stable. We've got that little gap under the lower back. We're not letting the back arch. What happens is the weight of the legs wants to tip the pelvis and lift the back away from the mat, where you are going to use your core to pull it back again. So let's lower those legs one at a time. Breath in, exhale, we lower one leg. Breath in, exhale, we lower the other leg. So let's do that again. So it's the breath in. Relax through the upper body. So take a few breaths just to relax. Make sure you've got that flat hand gap under your lower back. You're nicely lined up. So breath in. Exhale, engage. Through the centre, through the powerhouse, we bring one leg up into tabletop. Now we've got that grape under the lower back. We're turning up the dimmer switch. So breath in. Exhale. Bring the second leg up to tabletop. Relax through the upper body. Make sure the chin is not floating up towards the ceiling. We'll just take a couple of breaths here. Every time you exhale, you are pulling that belly button down towards your spine, drawing up the pelvic floor. Relaxing through the shoulders, and let's release the legs back down. Breath in. As you exhale, we place one foot back on the floor. Breath in, exhale. The other leg is going to come down onto the floor. Let's do that one more time, and then we're going to move on to some shoulder mobility, and I'll talk about keeping the ribs nice and stable. So one more time with the legs in tabletop. Relax, tuck the chin, breath in, exhale, pull up, pull in, and bring one leg up into tabletop. We're going to turn up the dimmer switch. Breath in, exhale, squeeze that juice from that grape. Relax the shoulders, pull in through the tummy. Keep that little gap under the lower back. Keep breathing in through the nose. We're going to go wide into the ribs because we're pulling in here. We cannot breathe into the belly. We don't want to breathe into the chest. Let's take one more breath. Exhale to lower one leg. Breath in. Exhale to lower the other leg. And relax. So you might want to just have a nice little stretch out and a full body stretch. Reach your arms overhead. Stretch those legs away. Take a few breaths. How are we doing for time? Yeah. Oh. 10 o'clock. Lovely. Okay, so let's come back to what we call our semi-supine position. So feet hip distance apart, lined up with your knees, that tuck of the chin. Remember, you can use the towel underneath to help you tuck that chin. Draw the shoulders down, away from your ears. Neutral spine, so we've got that flat hand gap under your lower back. Pulling in and pulling up the pelvic floor 30%. Scooping that belly button down towards the spine. Breathing into the ribs. So we're going to work on shoulder mobility now. So we've drawn the shoulder blades down away from your ears and we're tucking the chin. So we're just going to bring, with your palms facing each other and your thumbs leading the way, a breath in. As you exhale, we pull in and pull up, and we bring the arms up towards the ceiling. And we're going to bring the arms overhead. So lengthen those arms away very gently, but keep the shoulders away from your ears. And you just bring the arms overhead to wherever your range of movement allows you to. You're unlikely to get your hands down on the mat unless you have a poor form. So try to just come as far as you're able to. The thing to be aware of is the rib cage. Don't let your rib cage flare. Think about lining the front of the ribs up with the front of your pelvis, keeping them soft, keeping them neutral. So we bring the arms up and over, and we're still just gently breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Keep the rib cage soft, be aware, is it lifting? So just go as far to that point as you're able to keep your rib cage neutral. And then exhale as you bring the arms back down by your side. Let's do that again. Exhale. And we can hold it as we inhale and then exhale to bring the arms back. So is there any movement in the ribs? There should be no movement through the spine. So none of this. As you lift, keep the rib cage soft. Just go as far as you're able to. Try to keep the elbows straight. Now if you've got hypermobility, sometimes when you straighten out your arms, you find that your elbows are like going the wrong way. So if that is the case for you, if you have hypermobility, you want to be working at 90% then. You don't want to lock those elbows out, just have a little soft bend in those elbows. Ribs stay nice and soft, so we can bring those arms up and over again. So let's start with the arms up towards the ceiling. And we're going to do what we call marching arms. So one arm goes up, one arm goes down. And again, ribs stay soft. There's no movement through the rib cage. The shoulders stay down, away from your ears. Lengthen those arms away. Keep drawing the shoulder blades down towards your heels as you lengthen the arms away. Keep breathing. As you mobilise through the shoulders, the rib cage shouldn't be rocking from side to side. Let's bring arms back up towards the ceiling, and we're going to do some arm circles. So the arms are going to float overhead. When you get to that point where your maximum range of movement, turn the palms to face the ceiling, and then we swoop those arms back and down. So again, everybody's got their own range of movement. You might find that your hands can't reach the floor. Keep the ribs nice and stable. Shoulders down, away from your ears. Nice flowing movement while you're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And engaging through the powerhouse. So the dimmer switch on your core is probably quite low at the moment. We don't need to really ramp it up. Let's change the direction. Once you come back to the centre, change direction. So think about nice long limbs, stability through the ribs, shoulders are staying away from your ears. Bring each arm at the same pace. So focus on balance between one side and the other. Last couple. We'll do one more just to finish up. Keep breathing. Every time you exhale, think about pulling up and pulling in. Let's rest those hands down by your side. Keep the shoulders down away from your ears. Remove the towel. If you have a towel underneath your head, just remove it for this exercise. We're going to do some bridging. So, feet can come a little bit closer to the bottom when we're doing our shoulder bridge. Heels underneath your knees is kind of where they want to be. Nice scooped abdominal hold. So really try to turn your belly into a soup bowl. I know it's a weird visualization, but you're trying to scoop it down, pull up the pelvic floor. So you're really nice and strong now in this girdle. Hands resting down by your side, tuck that chin. So we're going to start lifting the spine away from the mat, one vertebrae at a time. So tuck your bottom under up towards the ceiling, press through those heels as you peel your spine away from the mat. Imagine it's like a bicycle chain and each link is one vertebrae. And we come up into our shoulder bridge. So good squeeze through the bottom. Think about the ribs. Again, it's very easy to overarch through the spine. So soften those ribs. Line them up with the front of your hip bones. So just pull it in
through the tummy to keep that connection. Hands down by your side. Good squeeze through the bottom. Press down with those heels to get that squeeze here. Okay, so things to think about. The back of the neck, your shoulder blade should be relaxing and melting into the mat, and your heels pressing down so that you are tightening through the glutes. And we want to still be breathing. Let's return the spine down, and we're going to start by making a curve through the spine as you lay each vertebrae down one at a time. You might discover that you have an area of your spine that doesn't want to reach down onto the mat, so be aware of that. Let's come back up into our shoulder bridge again, lifting from the tailbone, and then each vertebrae lifting away nice and even. Good squeeze through the bottom, press through the heels, relax through the shoulders and the back of the head. Watch the knees. Sometimes we let the knees go out to the side. Think about sending the knees away from you that way. Soften up the ribs. Keep breathing. And again, let's return that spine. Be aware you want to return from here. One vertebrae at a time. Is there any part of your spine that doesn't seem to want to roll down onto the mat? Again, just being aware. We're going to come back up into our shoulder bridge. So keep breathing nice and slowly, peeling the spine. So this is lovely for mobility of the spine. Coming back up into your shoulder bridge. Let's do something with the arms. So focusing on keeping the pelvis nice and stable. We're pulling up the pelvic floor. We're pulling the belly button down nice and stable. Let's bring those arms up towards the ceiling. So thinking again about the shoulders being planted into the mat, melting into the mat. Draw them down away from your ears. Tuck the chin. Let's do those marching arms again. So one arm up, one arm down. This time we've got to keep thinking about our shoulder bridge at the same time. So we don't want to be wobbling through the hips as we do those marching arms. So good pull up and pull in. Keep nice and stable. Keep the rib cage soft as we march those arms. Lots to think about. If you need to take a break, simply return down onto the mat and have a breath or two and come back up and join us. We're not going to be here for much longer anyway, just another couple of marching arms. Let's bring both arms up towards the ceiling. And then I'm going to get you to lower them down overhead, again, just to your range of movement. And from here, we are going to return the spine as we did before, one vertebrae at a time. And the arms are going to kind of float over down towards your side as it's all nicely connected. And we'll end up on the mat, nice and relaxed. Excellent. So, bring one knee in, bring the other knee in, a little bit of a hug. I want you just to rock from side to side. That's going to massage your lower back. Excellent. So, let us come on to our side. So we're going to do a side lying exercise. It's called torpedo, and we are going to set the body up again. Always set the body up So we use the back edge of the mat to help you line yourself up. So feet, knees, hips all stacked on top of each other. My waist, my shoulders, my arm is going to stretch out underneath. So all in a straight line, and you can see that because you're looking at the mat, you can see that you're nicely lined up. Often it might be difficult to get that arm in position, so you might have it forwards, which then means that you're going to lean forwards to rest your ear on your shoulder, and so you've lost that alignment. So if that is the case, I'd rather you fold your elbow up behind and you can still be nice and straight along that back edge of the mat, okay? So that's a couple of options. And then if you've got your arm underneath you, you can just place your towel in there to help you. Again, we're looking at the alignment of the spine, so it just helps you keep that nice alignment. Hand in front just to support you. You might find that your shoulder wants to roll forward, so be aware of that and roll it back and down so that they're stacked on top of each other. And we're going to create a little gap under your lower waist, just enough to post a letter through, okay? And that's going to stay there. So you're finding, hopefully already, that you're having to pull up and pull in just to keep that active gap there. So keep that there. It's a nice breath in. And as you exhale, you pull up, you pull in, and you send those feet away from you, and you're going to lift, they're going to lift all by themselves. Hold it there while you inhale. Exhale, we lower those legs. Take a breath in. Exhale, pull up, pull in, and lift and lengthen. You may only find that you can lift that much away from the mat to start with. That's fine. We all work at our own level. Inhale, exhale, pull up, pull in, send the feet away, really lengthen those legs away. So you've got tension through the front of the thighs, as you lengthen. Let's do a last couple. So exhale. So this is a perfect example of where all the work comes from here, from the powerhouse. You can relax through that upper body because it's not doing anything. Everything happens from here down. Relax the rest. Relax the shoulders. Last couple. Inhale, exhale, lift and lengthen. Keep that little gap here. We don't want to collapse through the waist. Last one. Inhale. As you exhale, you lift and lengthen. And lower. So I'm going to get you to bend your knees. You're still lying on the back edge of that mat. So you've got your feet are now lined up with your bottom and your back on the back edge of the mat. Knees are on top of each other. Top arm in front to support yourself. We're going to do some clam exercise. So again, the hips stay nice and stable. Make sure you don't roll back. This is one of the things that happens when we're doing sideline exercises. It's very easy to roll back and not be aware of it. So that's a point you have to think about. So it's a breath in, pull up, pull in. As you exhale, we open through the knees, and again, make sure that you're not rolling back. So hands on your hip maybe just to help you, and almost press forwards with that hip to counteract. And you should feel that deep in the glute and close. Breath in, exhale. Feet stay together. So it's almost like it's called the clam because it's like a clam. But also you could think of it like a book. Open in the book. And exhale to close. So every time you exhale, remember we're pulling up, we're pulling in, so we're nice and strong in the centre, and then we move the body. So this is strengthening up the glutes and the piriformis muscle. Let's do the last couple. And be aware of your breathing. One way to remember whether you should be breathing in or breathing out is it's E for exhale and E for exertion. Exertion. Lovely. Right, we're going to go straight onto the other side. So just split sides. And again, lining up the body, back edge of the mat, hips on top of each other, that arm underneath you or bent, but we want a nice lined up spine. So quick check. And top arm in front just to support you, shoulders back though, little gap under that lower waist. We're going to keep that active now. Breath in as you exhale, pull up, pull in, send those feet away. It's going to lift all by themselves. Hold it while you inhale, exhale to lower. Inhale at the bottom, ready to go again. So it's all about lengthening those legs, really nice tension through the front of the thighs. Shoulders stay relaxed. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, we pull up, we pull in. So we're nice and strong in the centre, and then we lift and lengthen through the legs. And again, as long as you are getting some kind of lift, it doesn't matter how much it is, think about lengthening the legs. It's more about just sending those feet away and then you get that lift. Let's do last one. And lower. Then we're going to do the clam. So we bring the knees bent, feet, bottom, back, arm, all lined up on the back edge of the mat. Little gap under that waist, pull up, pull in, don't roll back. So hips on top of each other. You can check by looking at your knees. So if one knee is back, probably means you're rolling back. So think about your knees being on top of each other, lined up. So nice pull in, breath in, exhale, and we open up. So you might not get a lot of movement here. It depends on how tight you are in the hips. We're all different. You should feel a good squeeze inside as you do your clam. And just make sure that you're not rolling back. So it's an exhale to lift, and then we can inhale to lower, so it keeps it flowing. Last couple. And last one. Excellent. So we're going to move on to our front lying exercise. So here we're going to focus on engaging through the abdominals, pulling up pelvic floor, pulling in through the belly, so that you don't feel any pressure here in your lower back. So the lift is going to be minimal. We're working on using these muscles here more in the upper back. So use the towel underneath your forehead, and we're going to do a sort of dart, I think. So hands down by your side, palms facing the ceiling. Bring your heels together and then just let the heels fall out to the side so they're nice and relaxed. And let your shoulders fall forwards onto the mat. And I want you to draw up the pelvic floor. And then exhale to really pull your belly button away from the mat. A little bit of a squeeze through the bottom here. And as you exhale, lift through the crown of the head. And then reach your fingers down towards your heels. So the lift is really small. But I want you to think about pressing your ribs into the mat, pulling your belly away from the mat and reaching fingers down towards your heels. Keep looking down at the mat. Don't lift your chin. We want to think of your neck as an extension of your spine, and then you can lower and let everything relax forwards. So breath in. Exhale, we engage through the core, we lift the shoulders and reach the fingers down towards the heels, lift through the, extend through the crown of the head, which means you're going to get that lift automatically. Hold it as you inhale and then lower. Exhale to lift, pull that belly button away from the mat. If you're feeling anything here, any pressure or pain, engage deeper through the core. Relax fully before you go again. So lengthen through the crown of the head, that means you get that lift. So I want you to think about length, not lift. Reach those fingers down towards your heels and lower. Last couple, as you exhale, you pull up and pull in, draw the shoulders down away from your ears as you reach for your heels and lengthen through the crown of the head. Tuck the chin. Exhale to lower. Last one, we exhale to lift through the crown of the head, reach the fingertips to the heels, hold it as you inhale. Exhale to lower. Perfect. So, we'll just do one last exercise. Yeah, very quickly. Place your hands under your hip bones and I want you to feel the weight of those hips in your hands, nice and even. So we're going to relax through the upper body now. It's a breath in. As you exhale, squeeze through the bottom as you lift and lengthen one leg. I want you to think about the weight of your hips as you lift and lengthen that one leg. Alternate sides. Make sure you're not shifting and lifting through the hips. So keep the hips even in your hands. Alternate one side to the other, lengthen that leg away, squeeze through the bottom as you lift, keep the hips nice and even. Alternating one side to the other, exhale as you exert, inhale as you hold, exhale to release down. And think about lengthening that leg, balancing the hips, squeezing through the bottom before you start the movement. Relaxing through the shoulders. Exhale to lengthen and lift that leg. Hold it while you inhale. Exhale to lower. We're going to do the last one on each side. So again, it might feel like this is quite easy, but I want you to think about the method. So it's getting the breathing right. It's remembering to engage through the centre. It's that pelvic floor, pulling the TVA in towards your spine. Last one. So So we're going to come up onto all fours. We'll just do a little bit of releasing through the spine. So we're up on all fours. I want you to press the mat away from you. Drop your head between your arms and tuck your bottom under as you arch your spine up towards the ceiling. So this is our angry cat. And then we're going to go into cow. So drop the belly, lift the tail, draw the shoulders back away from your ears and keep looking down at the mat. A couple of breaths here. We'll go back into our angry cat again. Tuck the bottom under, let the head hang, press the mat away from you. And again, back into cow, drop the belly, lift the tail, keep the shoulders back and down, keep looking down at the mat. Let's find a neutral spine now, and we're going to walk those hands around to one side. So we get a little bit of a side bend. Take a couple of breaths. And walk the hands all the way around to the other side now. Let's come back to the middle. We're going to do thread the needle. So we place the hand across the body, lower the shoulder, reach through. Those with osteoporosis, you don't want to be doing this, or do it very gently, just do it with the hand. And back to the middle. Did I say do the other side? Anyway, I did. So hopefully we've done the other side. Open up the knees, keep the toes together, reach those hands forward, and then just send your tail away in the opposite direction to get a nice stretch and lengthening through the spine. Coming back onto all fours, we are just going to do one last roll up to standing. So pop those toes under. Osteoporosis, you will just take 1 foot forwards and come up that way. Otherwise, straighten up those legs, walk the hands back, restack with your vertebrae, coming back up to standing, shoulders back and down, big reach up towards the ceiling, and then press those hips forwards, relaxing down. There you go, well done. So that's the beginner's Pilates. We'll do something similar, build on it a little bit, but it is a little bit of repetition until you get that kind of used to engaging the core and all the breathing and stuff like that. So I think the next time I'm doing that is Thursday, same time, same place. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Leave me some feedback, put some comments in. It's really good to get feedback, just to find out what you'll find. You know, maybe I didn't explain something well, or you know, I need to know if you're not getting what I'm saying. Okay, that's it. I'm going to leave you now. Thanks.